So the most powerful people in United States have decided to legally poison the waters and kill animals, and probably Chernobyl'ing the people of East Palestine in Ohio by releasing toxic materials in the air. If you haven't woken up yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Are they trying to get rid of red state? Are they trying to make sure that 2024, no more votes from that area because maybe people are going to move, or maybe a lot of people are going to be dead because of the poisoning? That was what came into my mind. But you know, everyone with his own thoughts. Let's just hear what Tucker Carlson has to say about the situation. And thank you guys for watching. We are praying for Ohio people.
Either way, what we know for certain tonight is that there is chaos in America's domestic airspace. That has never happened before. It's not a good sign. There's chaos on the ground, too, a lot of it. 10 days ago, for example, a train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. That's about 50 minutes outside Pittsburgh. Apparently, there was some kind of mechanical failure. We still don't have details on what that failure was. Of course we don't. We do know about 50 cars derailed. At least 10 of them were carrying thousands of gallons of highly dangerous chemicals, including vinyl chloride, which causes cancer. Watch.
It started with a thunderous boom, and then a huge plume of thick black smoke that could be seen for miles. This was the moment officials in East Palestine, Ohio had been planning for, a controlled release of toxic chemicals from several train cars at the site of a derailment, one that has forced thousands from...
Look at that. The toxic material released into the clouds.
From their homes.
And all the way around, everybody's frustrated and like to go home.
The decision to conduct a controlled release came just days after the train derailed in the rural Ohio community, sparking a massive fire. As the blaze continued to burn through the weekend, concerns quickly escalated. That's because 5 of the train...
Oh my God. Prayers to you guys. Praying for you guys.
Cars carried the chemical vinyl chloride, an unstable material with the potential to explode, shooting deadly shrapnel up to a mile away and releasing toxic...
I hope they evacuated people before they did that. I hope they told people to leave this area before they did that, because if they didn't, that's just genocide. That's just legal terrorism, I can say, allegedly.
Fumes into the air.
We don't want to second guess anybody. We got to assume everybody involved was doing their best under a highly stressful situation. But did you see that mushroom cloud? That was caused on purpose. And maybe there's a good reason. Again, no second guessing. But what it means is those clouds of toxic smoke flew up and out. And that toxic smoke almost immediately began killing animals. Dead fish washed up on shore. As one hazardous materials specialist put it, we basically nuked a town with chemicals. So then representatives from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, arrived to restore calm. Yes, an EPA spokesman explained, chemicals from the derailed train did enter the local watershed. And yes, they did kill fish. But the drinking water supply remains totally safe. The fish are dead, but go ahead and fill your thermos and brew some coffee.
How? How can the water be safe, yet the fish are all dead? How can that be possible? Even a stupid person will tell you that's just a lie. That's just plain lie. They're getting rid of red state. That's what I can say. I don't know.
Everything's fine. Now, we don't know if the locals in East Palestine are drinking the water tonight, but we can tell you the Biden administration doesn't seem too concerned about it either way. Donald Trump got over 71% of the vote in the county in the last presidential election. That's not exactly the Democratic Party's core demographic. Fentanyl, toxic waste spill, whatever. They're not our voters. And by the way, what does a chemical spill have to do with climate change? If you can't use it to sell solar panels, it's not really an environmental disaster. That's the rule in Washington. So no one in the Biden administration bothered to issue warnings to communities that might be in the path of those toxic mushroom clouds you saw floating up from the train wreck, because no one cared enough to do that. Pete Buttigieg is the official who's supposed to be in charge of our transportation infrastructure. Technically, he's the transportation secretary. At an appearance today, he seemed to have no idea that there was a train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. His real concern, he explained, is that we have too many damn white construction workers in this country.
We have heard way too many stories from generations past of infrastructure where you got a neighborhood, often a neighborhood of color, that finally sees the project come to them, but everyone in the hard hats on that project looking like, doing the good paying jobs, don't look like they came from anywhere near the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the problem, Mayor Pete. Too many white guys in hard hats. Why didn't we realize this before we built all this infrastructure that's now crumbling? It's actually not funny, and future historians will marvel at just how much damage one incompetent narcissist can cause when he's elevated to a serious job, like transportation secretary. Here's a guy who could not on a bet, who could not at gunpoint change his own tire, who oversees our roads, railways, and airports, all of which are crumbling from mismanagement and neglect.
People should be suing him. People should be demanding his retirement right now. I don't see any outrage from anywhere. Thank God for people like Tucker Carlson for reporting on this. And this man needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. Republicans, you took the House, do something. I don't even hear the Republicans saying anything about this.
And not just from mismanagement and neglect, but also from actual acts of sabotage. Over the last 2 years, the FBI has investigated more than 40 cases of rail sabotage in Washington state alone, in one state. Now, a lot of those attacks involve so-called shunt devices. Those are wires stretched between tracks that interfere with the train's electrical signals and cause derailments. In one incident, just before Christmas in 2020, a shunt caused a train to derail in Custer, Washington. That train spilled 30,000 gallons of crude oil and forced locals to evacuate their homes. Well, that's not the environmental disaster that Joe Biden talks about, because, of course, he can't buy solar panels from the Chinese to fix it. But it was, objectively speaking, an act of terrorism. The interesting thing is, very often, in fact, in the majority of cases, people who commit acts of terrorism against infrastructure, whoever they are never punished, and the ones who are caught aren't really punished. One woman who tried to destroy trains using a shunt got out of jail after only a year. Oh. So no one's paying any attention and no one really seems to care, because what does that have to do with environmental racism and climate? And possibly as a result of that attitude, there are an awful lot of train derailments in this country, many more than you may realize. In the last calendar year, more than 1,000 trains went off the tracks in the United States. Oh, how's that for a metaphor? Just today, 2 more trains derailed. One of them was in South Carolina and one was in Texas near Houston. The train near Houston was also carrying hazardous materials, as so many trains are. What's going on here exactly? We're not even going to guess. But we can tell you the chaos is not limited to our rail system. There have also been many recent attacks on our power grid. Very few of those attacks have been widely reported. Last year, there were more than 100 attacks of them in the United States, attacks on our power grid. In North Carolina this winter, for example, nearly 50,000 people lost their power in freezing temperatures when somebody shot up 2 energy substations. And so on. Why is it not a big story? Oh, it's not a story at all. And then, of course, at the same time, we've also seen a series of bizarre accidents befalling the food industry, threatening our food supply. That would include unexplained fires and plane crashes in processing plants, to chicken feed that seems to stop egg production. Boy, next they'll be coming for the water. Oh, wait, they are. Less than a month into the Biden administration was also a highly sophisticated attack on the water supply outside Tampa.
Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Galtieri says a water treatment plant operator first noticed the remote access hack. The bad actor increased the amount of sodium hydroxide or lye in the water supply from 100 parts per million to more than 11,000. For the 15,000 residents of Oldsmar, Florida, the increase of sodium hydroxide in the water supply could have caused vomiting, chest, and abdominal pain.
This type of activity and this type of hacking of critical infrastructure is not necessarily limited to just water supply systems. It can be anything.
Oh, an attack on our water supply. That's weird. I didn't read that in the New York Times. But what's interesting, not to connect the dots or anything, that was not the only attack on our water supply that year. In January 2021, there was a similar effort to poison the water treatment plant that serves the San Francisco Bay Area. An unidentified hacker accessed the facility's computers remotely. According to NBC, quote, after logging in, the hacker deleted programs that the water plant used to treat drinking water. Now, fortunately, in this case, somebody noticed it. The next day, the attack was discovered and those programs were reinstalled, so nobody got poisoned. But they kept trying. There were similar hacks of water treatment facilities in California in August of 2021. There was one in Maine in July of 2021. There was one in Pennsylvania in May of 2021. In Nevada in March. In New Jersey in September of 2020.
So immediately after Biden was installed, became president, see how many in 2021, how many times they tried to poison the waters. In the name of what? They didn't do much while Trump was president, but you have 21 July, May 21. Oh my God, 5 times they've been trying to poison everyone. Why?
Kansas in March of 2019, and so on. So who's looking after our water supply? Water, that's kind of basic. Well, that's the job of the EPA. But what does protecting the water have to do with passing out cash?
There's a terrorist in the water department or whatever. They have installed one of their terrorists to be attacking the water supply treatment or the water treatment supply. There has to be. They have to know something. Or they have installed one of their own to be doing all this hacking.
In the name of remediating environmental racism. Oh, nothing! So they're not paying attention. In fact, they're not paying attention to such an extent that even the Washington Post, which is a shill for the administration if there ever was one, pointed out that, quote, for more than 2 decades, the EPA has not been resourced or organized to secure the nation's water and wastewater sector against physical and cyber threats. Wait a second. So nobody's paying attention to the most critical infrastructure, not the racist roads, but food, water, energy, transportation infrastructure, food, water, energy infrastructure. What does that add up to? Oh, that adds up to a country. You can't have a country without those things. And in every single case, whatever the cause, our food.
They're trying to get rid of Americans, especially the white ones, allegedly. Just saying.
Water, energy, and infrastructure are being degraded. Who knows why? If you didn't know any better, you think there might be a war going on. Why is no one talking about this?
Yeah, what do you guys think? I think there's something bigger than what we see. There's something very big going on. Not only are the tanks, US military tanks are already in Ukraine, lined up, ready to fight the Russians. If the US have decided to go fight the Ukrainian war against the Russians, this is a World War III. And we have no idea where those UFOs came from or those objects came from. Things have been going on strangely in the United States. The farmers have been losing their farms, their cattle. There's been a lot of fire going on in factories, especially food factories. And I don't know, they want people to starve to death. That's why they want us to eat insects. That's why they are forcing us to have this artificial meat, probably made from poo-poo. We have to dig past what we are seeing to actually know exactly what's going on, because the media will not tell us. They probably know exactly what's going on, but they will never tell us what's going on. My goodness, I live in a very tiny country, and this is getting me very scared. Very, 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 very scared. Anyway, we are praying for you, the Ohioans. We are praying for you. May God protect you. These people are trying to, they are not trying, they have already Chernobyl's you guys with their toxic materials. We have no idea what will come in 1 or 2 years. If this is going to cause cancer to you guys, we have no idea. And this is very sad. This is very sad. And I don't know why it came to my mind that they did this purposely, that they did this intentionally in a red state. I have no idea why I'm saying that, but that's just what crossed my mind. Yeah, apart from that, we have no idea what they're planning before 2024. They must be planning something bigger than what we are seeing right now. I hope we don't start World War III. Thank God to Tucker Carlson, who said something and connected some dots that has been happening since 2019. But yeah, I'm praying for United States. I am an African Israeli, but I love United States politics. I'm so infatuated with you guys. Um, I am so sorry that my English isn't to the perfection, but listen, I live in a country we don't speak English. I haven't spoken English, like, haven't spoken English in 20 years. So this is why I've started doing these commentary videos, and I also try to read more. Though my pronunciation sounds oof, but I think I haven't even read books. And I don't like reading books, like audiobooks. Lazy me. So I thought to myself, doing YouTube with like by reading articles or things like that might perfect my English in the future. And so I'm trying my best. I love you guys. Americans, you are like my buddies. And we are praying for you guys. We are praying for you. I hope that nobody get cancer from that toxic material. Okay, the fish are dead. All the chickens are, I don't know how you guys are going to survive. Maybe the land is already poisoned. You can't grow nothing. But who knows? Miracle might happen. Maybe God has something in store for you guys. And the devil will pay for whatever they did. How did I come to start preaching? It's weird. Yeah, yeah. Let's keep praying for the East Palestine in Ohio. They need our prayers. And don't forget to like, comment, share, hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. See you next time, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye. It.